Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we take a look at the Springbank Local Barley 13-year-old, the 2023 release, December of 2023, Dustin. This one comes in at 54.1% ABV, and like always, we like to bring local barleys to you.
Absolutely. Every Springbank we can afford.
There was one we didn't buy that we could get our hands on. Just one.
There's been a couple.
Come on.
The last couple years, the prices have gotten a little difficult in the States.
30 we passed on. What Springbank did we find that we didn't buy?
I didn't buy this year's 25 or 21.
That's right.
Both of them are there, but man, $700 for the 21 and $1,300 for the 25. Like 46 whiskey. Come on.
I stand corrected. That's brutal, although 25 is my favorite whiskey.
Yeah.
All right, anyway, local barley time. We like to do these every year. This time a 13-year, which is pretty old.
It's the oldest they've done since the 16.
Yeah.
And this is one of the smallest releases. Interestingly enough, Mike, I was talking to somebody, we noticed they've done this particular vintage. Now, I don't know if it's which farms. I didn't look into it. Mm-hmm. Other vintages, they've done like 15,000 releases, but they've done a couple releases from this vintage. So I'm wondering if they're sitting on another 15,000 or so bottles worth of this particular vintage to maybe give us an older one down the road.
All right, so this particular one looks like distilled in June of 2010, bottled in December of 2023, 8,400 bottles, which are no casks. This is barley type Bulgarian. What was it? Glen Craig's Farm. All right, so that's where we're at. We'll put that in the information.
Yep. And did you mention it's 40 sherry, 60 bourbon?
I did not, but thank you, Dustin. 60 sherry, 40 bourbon, yes?
No, other way.
60 bourbon, 40 sherry.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. I can smell that sherry in it, Dustin, instantly.
This is so dirty aggressive for a local barley. Like, there's something different about this one from any other one I've had. It's not the soy sauce where it was all sherry. Mm-hmm. It's almost like, dare I say, I hate to even use this reference, but a little big red gum note coming through here.
I don't know if I'm getting a ton of smell.
It's a little.
There's a twinge of cinnamon. I don't think I've ever said that on the local barley before.
No, it's a little cinnamon, and then dare I even go further and go a hint of like a juniper, like a gin note.
Juniper berry? Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
Little Christmas tree action?
Just a little like
a
little odd spice that's light.
There is like a sappiness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
tree sap.
Yeah, it's dirty. So we just had the original Springbank 18, which was bottled in 2009, and it was dirty. It was funky. Yeah. This is funky for a local barley.
Yeah, but this is a different kind of funk. Now, I will tell you this, and this is a common thing I've heard from other people talking about the local barley. Mm-hmm. I get no peat.
No. Well, there's an earthiness and there's an oakiness.
Earth and oak, but that's what local barley should be, is earthy, because it's got that local barley note. And I've never looked into like their ppms. I actually, believe it or not, I emailed Springbank about this bottle, and they did not give me any information that wasn't on Whiskey Base. Like, they were very light on information.
Yeah, just talking in circles.
Yeah, I've heard some people say they get like good details. I feel like I've got to like find a rep or something.
I never get good details.
Yeah, I need to find like one of the sales reps here who like gets a little more information, who's willing to share, because we do so many of these bottles. We have a pretty big audience that listens to us. I wish I could give you guys more, since I know a lot of you tune into us for almost exclusively our Springbank views.
Or Campbelltown whiskey.
Yeah, Campbelltown, whiskey. So
yeah, someone in Springbank must not like us. Have we said something super critical about them? I don't remember.
Well, I think it was just I emailed them, and
maybe the people that own Kilcairn are the ones that are responding to us. They're just like, forget these guys.
They saw the Kilcairn hate reviews.
Nope, hate us.
Yeah, good point.
All right, so this is sweetening up for me. Golden barley, golden wheat.
Yeah, very clean. Like, we've talked about like earthy notes on a couple other whiskeys, in the last couple reviews. This is a very clean, but yet still very earthy note.
This is both a dirty version of the local barley and a sickly sherry sweetness version of it. Sickly may be the wrong word.
I don't know that
Pungent sherry version.
I go pungent, but again, I think the sherry is actually where all the dirtiness is coming from here. I think the bourbon casks here are cleaning it up.
Two things can be true at the same time.
Yeah. Like, I think it's really clean, classic, slightly refilled bourbon with a little bit of first fill sherry, maybe a little refilled.
I don't think it's as clean as you do, but
I think the sherry casks are dirty as hell here.
I can get behind everything else that you just said. I'm going in, bro.
Yeah.
Did I say 54-1?
Yeah, 54-1. Yeah, so
usual.
medium to medium low, I guess. They usually range between 52 and 56, so I guess medium high. Then I'll say it out loud. I'm noticing, as I just keep going back and I get acclimated to kind of the dirty sherry note, it does become a cleaner nose. Not super complex though. I have to say it's a very narrow range. What do you got?
First you get local barley, then you swallow, it gets dirty, then it gets sherry, then it comes back, and it gets sweet again, almost a little bit of great bubblegum sweetness. It goes bang, 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 and it changes quickly. As soon as you get off your tongue, mid-palate changes, swallow changes, finish changes. Now I'm getting smoke. Now I'm getting oak. Now I'm getting vanilla. Still feels dirty, but there is a clean vanilla note to this with a little bit of sugar in it.
We're getting very different experiences.
Give it to me.
So, initially I do get kind of a local barley, but again, less citrusy than a lot of them are, because local barley sometimes are really high on the citrus up front.
This is low in citrus.
This is very middling. In fact, I'd say up front, almost no citrus. A little, but almost no. And yet not a lot of like the local barley, like huskiness and kind of dirtiness up front. Very clean, earthy local barley. Then it transitions. You start getting a lot of spice. I got tons of just different little subtle spices, like a white spice. Again, that Tanqueray note I made earlier, it's very, very, very minimal, but it's probably not juniper, but it's giving me something similar. Then I do get a little bit of like a caramel note that came through, reminiscent of like a bourbon almost. I get a little bit of, again, that slight cinnamon, hint of red hot, but it's pretty subtle. Then the finish, I do get a touch of smoke, just a puff. And then I get a lot of citrus on the finish. It actually kind of really builds up the citrus. And then I get a really nice vanilla. It actually, the way it finished is really kind of built up in stages and a really nice experience. Upfront arrival was surprisingly boring, and although very rich, very oily, the ABV here is really beautiful. Like, it is just giving you a really nice experience without being too hot.
All right, let me give you your credit. I agree with a lot of things you said there. I completely missed the spice. And when I said boom, 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 there were transitions. There were things I missed in those transitions. The second thing was spice. I took a little sip while you were saying. You're absolutely right. Having said that, I also agree with it being a little bit boring initially when you put it on your tongue. Having said that, you brought me around to those two things, but I'm still exactly where I was with everything else.
Yeah, different experience.
Different experience.
I do think...
You know what? I love the fact that a couple years ago with the 10 that was over-sherried, wasn't my thing, wasn't your thing, but it was different. Yeah. Then they went all bourbon the next year. Wasn't necessarily my thing, your thing, but I appreciated it. Yeah. This is really taking it slightly older, and I think the only thing that older got it was funkier and dirtier.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I'd have to go back and look at that 10-year, but I bet you they're using some of the same sherry casks that they used on that all sherry that gave us those soy sauce notes. Mm-hmm. But because it's 60 bourbon, and maybe it's not all those same sherry casks, it gives us some of the dirtiness that those casks gave, but with the clean bourbon, really balancing it. But it does have this really odd experience I've never had on Springbank, where there's, again, like this little moment of bourbon-esque, caramel, red hot, cinnamon spice I've never had on a Springbank before.
Okay. I don't know why it took me water to get this, but you're right about the cinnamon. I did not pick that up at all after you said that when it was neat.
Yeah. As you can see, I've had a few pours of this. So.
Yeah, no, with water, you're right, it's cinnamon. I completely missed the whole spice thing before, but it's more prevalent now. With water, funkiness is down, spice is up.
Getting more like a clay putty note with water.
Not that it isn't still funky.
Oh, it's got funk, man. Again, I'm really interested. I really wish Springbank. I would love you guys to let us know like what the maturation of the sherry cask used here, like what that looked like, because it's a really unique experience because it doesn't match up with any other sherry experience I've had with Springbank.
All right, I'm picking up a clean note too. I'm going to say it's unfired clay. Am I right, or is it fired clay?
Maybe sun-baked, but yeah, you're right. I don't think it's fired.
We used to do that like in high school.
Yeah, you make a little pottery or something. I think I did it in middle school and high school.
I made ashtrays. That was the only thing my hands really could articulate.
I still have. I still have like a vase-looking thing here that's terrible looking that I put pens and pencils in that sits on my desk from like.
You see how big these hands are. These are not surgeon's hands.
Well, then you should have made a giant vase. Like was it the Ghost?
Yeah. I didn't have Demi Moore helping me.
That's what you need.
Yes.
That would inspire a lot of young men.
Yes, it did. All right, so also with water, more vanilla's coming up.
The sherry got cleaner on the nose too, man.
It separated the sherry from the funkiness.
Like I get a lot more berry notes now here. I still get a little bit of that cinnamon spice, but I'm getting a lot more.
But the spice is tuned up big time. There's multiple spices here.
Yeah, and that's where I was struggling. That's where like the Tanqueray was the first spice kind of note I could come up with, was like just that slight gin note.
I'm not a huge spice guy. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's hard for me to distinguish like what this spice is, what that spice
We're
is.
white. We don't cook with spice.
And not only that,
Salt and pepper.
Like roosters, whichever one has. Like I'll get donkey fingers, or I'll get fingers every time I go there, which is chicken breast. But I'll get donkey sauce on. But like after like the second one, I'm sweating. You know what I mean? Like, eyes are watering. I just had roosters this week with a customer. He's like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing." It's just too tangy.
Clearing out the pores.
Yeah, clearing out the pores. But yeah, this is far. I mean, from people are fans of local barley and had multiple local barleys. They're going to remember this for three reasons: age, spice, funk.
And yet, you know how I say that with water, it's become cleaner. It's kind of simple.
Well, and it's become more spicy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's actually fairly simple. I mean, it's not doing a whole lot.
Well, here's the thing. We can talk about local barleys a lot, but I mean, I think some of our value is we've had so many local barleys, we can tell you the difference between this local barley and that local barley and things like that. This is very similar to the Springbank 18 2009 version we recently did. This feels like a funkier, more back to the roots of a Springbank to me.
Ooh.
When I first fell in love with the distillery.
I'm getting some mint now notes on here.
Really? Mint?
A little bit of mintiness.
On the palate?
Up front, yeah. The arrival, again, a little bit of mint. The finish is definitely giving me that slight, like, oaky, kind of grapefruit-esque, hazelburn kind of finish. Definitely not hazelburn, but it's giving me similar notes where that little citrusiness comes in. The water took out some of the sherry and the cinnamon spice for me a little bit. Or I shouldn't have said the cinnamon spice, took out some of that caramel notes. That rich caramel I got mid-palate kind of is faded with water.
Dude, I was going to say, it watered everything down. It took away the spice. It took away the funkiness. The one thing it added was caramel.
We're getting a totally different experience.
I mean, right, like at the end it added caramel to me. Like, you said that initially, and that was the spice. I'm like, I didn't get any one of those things. So maybe I concentrated on more, but I'm telling you right now, the linger is caramel.
Interesting.
It's caramel and just...
It's funny how I'm getting it neat and you're getting it with water. So changing it up.
Well, I mean, here again is another scenario where 54.1, am I right there? 54.1 took water well.
Oh, definitely.
It changed it up. Well, at least it let me recognize things that I couldn't pick up neat and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that kind of mint spice kind of thing brought down some of the oiliness here a little bit. So I would say I did prefer it neat slightly more. But, I mean, I'm splitting hairs here. It's not materially different.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm like, well, there is something. I'm going to say
Well, you know what? I just went back in. Caramel's right back. So I think...
As soon as you swallow, right?
It's actually, as soon as I was leaving my tongue was sliding off, the caramel came in.
That little swell.
Yeah, I didn't get it the first time there, but yep, it's back.
I could go as far as the green note that you mentioned is mint. Like, when I think of mint, I think of like tobacco leaf, that type of...
No. It's like a...
eucalyptus almost.
Yeah.
Very light green. Very light green.
Yeah, it's a subtle hint. Again, this whiskey's very in like this very narrow range with the caramel sherry note here, like over here, then it's really barely there. It's like this little thing over here, and there's this little sliver here. It's an interesting experience. And again, that's what local barley is kind of about, is giving you a different experience because it's one farm, it's local, it's
tweaking the EQ.
Yeah, like it's not mass, huge factory farming where like it's very consistent once you put it all together, and they put it in giant, I don't know what they call them, effectively vats of
silos.
Silos, there. Yep. Thank you. It's a very it varies like whatever the water was this year, the way the rain was.
Got some dirt in it, maybe a couple of squirrels.
Yeah, exactly. So this is very much giving it its own little take. It's a fun whiskey, Mike.
Look,
this is the most unique local barley I've had.
I agree. More unique than the all bourbon or all sherry.
The all sherry, I guess, was unique, but like not enough. It was unique because of the sherry, but like all bourbon, Because a lot of them are like 90-10 or 90-15.
If you blinded me, I'm guessing, and you said to me, one of these, you gave me 4 local barleys and said one isn't local barley, lied to me.
Yeah.
And said one isn't local barley, which one is it? I'd pick this one.
Agree.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's the most off.
Even that cherried one still had like the local, like there's a certain arrival that all the local.
Yeah, there wasn't
had.
smoke. There wasn't. Yeah, but there was.
But there's something. But this one, yeah, it's like it's got its own little thing.
You know what? I love that about this distillery. I love that about Springbank. I love that about Long Rail. I love that year after year after year with the reds, with the local barley, with the 18, it's different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That really is just. That is someone, in my opinion, that has enough courage to say, look, we're going to do this a little bit different, and we're not going to cookie cutter this thing because we're whiskey fans.
Yeah.
And we want to sell to whiskey fans.
I think, there's a boldness and assertiveness that you have to say, I have a product you love. I have people standing in line to buy my product, and I'm going to change it up every time and gamble. That is so bold.
Yeah. And not in a negative way. We both agree the sherry casks in Springbanks in general have improved over the years. In general. So it's not that they're doing a different version of their whiskey based on being dictated to by money or availability. They're choosing it.
Absolutely. Everything about their process leaves variance. I mean, they bring in people like you and I to pay, I don't know how much money, but you pay for the right to go and work at the distillery. And you're going to get some differences when you've got random guys like us shoveling, grain into stuff. I mean, helping with the floor malting. Like, it's just...
It's not a cookie cutter process.
Exactly. It's intentional.
Yes.
They don't have machines. They don't have computers. It's about the person who put that together, and, like, that whiskey is something you produced. That's just something so unique.
I wish they didn't have a website or an email address. I wish we had to handwrite them letters. Sealed in wax.
I will let you know their response time is the equivalent of if I'd sent them a letter.
At least I can do the small things right for us. Anyway, those actually whiskey score time. Dustin, sure bottle, so I'm going to go first. Now, I just gave the 2009, 18, and 89 because I love the dirty funkiness and I love the chance it take. This is no different than 89.
There you go.
What are your thoughts?
I am between an 88 and 89. I don't know why, Mike, but I am, for some reason, there's just something here I can't articulate that's going to make me go 88. It's great whiskey.
You're resisting it. You got to embrace what that is.
There's something about just that red hot note just sort of kind of throws me off on this one. I really like this one, and I tell you what, I've had this open for about a week and a half. I tell you what, these new 700s go fast.
They do.
And I think I've done one sample for a friend on this one, so otherwise it's been all me. And it was not a full 1 ounce.
Keep it savage, Dustin.
But it's definitely been changing. The caramel red hot note has actually come down as it's been open. So I'm really excited to see when it kind of gets down to about here. I think that note's going to integrate a little bit better. I think this whiskey's probably going to be an 89, 90. For now, I'm an 88, but I do think this is one of those whiskeys that's going to just get better and better as it opens up. So that's kind of my thought. We're bringing it to you as soon as we can, guys, because we know there's still a few of these floating around there.
Yeah, this isn't a bottle pop, but we try to get this to you quickly.
Yeah, so, I mean, we'd love to wait 3 months before we did any
3
review.
years.
Yeah, but unfortunately, then you guys comment, great, can't get this, or have you seen the auction prices?
Remember, we're here to try to help you guys make good buying decisions.
Yes.
And have fun. I'll say this, Dustin. We need to do a local barley comparison at some point. Just line them up for the last 8 years.
Yeah, that'd require me to open a lot of bottles because most of the ones I have are not open.
Or me.
You got a couple, yeah.
I can take one for the team. This is my 13th Springbank.
Nice. Mike is slowly starting to get his Springbanks up to maybe your Lafroig level.
9 close.
Level, maybe.
13 closed. I'll have you. I got a few open on the bar. Anyway, those are our thoughts on the whiskey. I'm an 89. What did you say you were again?
88.
89, so we're kicking around the same thing.
Yeah.
Another good release from the Springbank Local Barley. This time a little bit older, 13.
13. Price.
2 to 250.
Yeah. And
He says what you told me.
I actually got one for 190, but
Hey,
and all the other ones were 145 or 245 out the door.
you deserve the cheapest one, for sure. My mule. All right, those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this new 13-year-old, this is what what our opinion on it was. We'd love to know what you guys' opinion is. Until next time, Dustin, what do we wish the folks?
Happy local drinking.
So see you then.